What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Hardworking Happy Hour podcast. I am Sean.
And I'm Catherine, and as always, we will be breaking down all things trades, entrepreneurship, and turning your creativity into a passion career.
And this week on the show, we're going to be talking about all things social media. This is something that we get asked a lot. A lot of DMs, comments are always about things surrounding social media, and it's obviously a very hot topic in the industry, in the world. It's something every business is talking about, whether they're in social media, they want to get into it. It's something that's just kind of all over the place. So we're going to break down our thoughts on it this week and answer some questions and just kind of rap about it for a little bit.
Yeah.
But first things first, what do we got here for the
drinks.
cocktail?
We have a chocolate peanut butter cup martini.
It's very delicious.
It's pretty good. It's very heavy.
It is very heavy.
It is peanut butter whiskey, chocolate liqueur, and a little bit of heavy cream and some chocolate syrup. I figured it was
and
nice.
And the peanut butter whiskey.
I said that first.
Did you say that?
I did
okay.
say that, yes.
All right.
We figured it was a nice holiday treat because we're recording this before Christmas. But
2 days before Christmas.
You'll be listening to this after Christmas, but we're festive right now.
Yes. This is
'Tis
definitely
the
a
season.
winter drink.
Mm-hmm.
It's very heavy.
Mm-hmm.
I think you would probably
A lot of
vomit
cream.
immediately if you had this in the middle of the summer.
Yeah.
But right now it's kind of the perfect martini for this time of year.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty excited about it.
I've never had peanut butter whiskey before. This is pretty.
I've never
pretty
had
delightful.
a martini.
Well,
my
I
whole
don't
life.
want to lead you astray because I think a real martini
It's
is
nothing like this.
vodka. I think that's what makes a martini
I
a
thought it was
martini.
gin.
Oh no, maybe you're right. Maybe it is gin.
I know there's olives in it, which
Oh.
seems very, very strange.
Yeah, real salty.
I don't know.
You know what? Maybe next week we
We'll just go
experiment with like flat
A
martinis.
classic martini. Okay, well, it'll be my week, so
Yeah.
we'll see what I come up with. But
Yeah.
so thank you for the chocolate peanut butter cup martini.
You are
it's
welcome.
Very delicious and a good way to kick off this show. And we're just gonna kind of dive right into all things social media here.
Yeah. Let's go over it. Just give like a brief overview
What we're gonna talk about?
of. No, we already did that.
Oh, we did that.
Of like
yeah.
why social media is so important. It's everywhere. Everyone's connected to it.
Yes.
It's you meet somebody and it's the first thing you go check them out, like on
Yeah.
the internet or a business. If you want to do business with somebody, you go look at their internet presence. So
Absolutely, yeah. It is what you would say ubiquitous. Is that the right word? I think it is. I think it might
yeah,
be.
sure.
Yeah.
I like it.
It's just it's everywhere. I mean, every business wants to be on social media. It's kind of like the hot topic, not just now, but for the last 10 years probably.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody that's not like fully engaged on it as far as a business wants to be more heavily involved in social media. Every guru and marketing professional is all about you got to be on social media.
Yeah.
And I think that there's a lot of different routes that you can go with social media. It's not just like one thing that you have to, be this influencer content creator that's just, focusing all of their efforts on creating content. That's not realistic for a lot of businesses.
Mm-hmm.
If you can do that, that's great.
Right.
The more that you can be out there, the more that you can create stuff, get in front of people's eyes and grab their attention, the better. But it's not realistic for most businesses, especially small businesses.
Yeah. I think a lot of businesses see it and think like, oh, that's easy. You just post a picture. Like I'm doing things. I can post a picture every day, but it's a huge undertaking
Yeah.
to
And
do all that.
it's
and
also
keep it consistent.
It's also changed, I think, so much, obviously, over the last 10 years. 10 years ago, social media was relatively new.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of like the wild, wild west. And there was a lot of these steadfast rules that you hear, like you have to post every day. It almost doesn't even matter what it is. You just have to
Right.
post every day around the same time. And I still see a lot of, especially small businesses, and you can almost tell that they are hiring this out or they're putting somebody in their office in charge of this, and they're just putting up kind of like nonsense every day just for that post every day, it's going to get out there.
Right.
And I think one thing that people don't think about is that you're not going to outsmart this algorithm. You know, everybody wants to like say, what do I need to do to appease the algorithm? You're not going to do that. It's so advanced that it's not even worth thinking about. The days of just post every day, be consistent to get out there, those days don't exist anymore.
Right.
The algorithm is designed to figure out what your target audience wants to see.
Yeah.
And it's really, really good at that.
And if what you're posting is actually engaging.
Exactly.
If it's not actually good content, it's just like dead on arrival, you're not going to go anywhere with it.
And it's going to rank you as, okay, every time this account posts, it's something very uninteresting. So it's just digging you a deeper hole.
Yes.
And so at the end of the day, I think like when it comes to that algorithm conversation, the thing that you need to do is just forget about that word completely. Just think about, what if an actual human was watching this? Would they want to see this or not?
Yeah.
Because
that's a good way to put it.
That's the goal of the algorithm, and the algorithm is so advanced that you can't trick it. There's no more of that.
Yeah.
That was 10, 15 years ago, but it's not anymore.
Yeah. Think of your end user and what they actually want to see and create content around that, and then your following will grow organically from there.
Yeah, because organic growth is like it's the thing that everybody wants, and more it's so hard to get that because everything is so saturated. Everybody's on social media, almost no matter what trade you're in or what industry you're in. It's just flooded with content. So I think if you're looking for organic reach and organic engagement, you have to almost be like a full-time content creator. Like you have to really be sitting there analyzing all the videos that you make, all the pictures that you post, see what's performing well, see what's not, and like adapt around that, because otherwise there's just so many people that are doing that you kind of can't get that organic reach.
Right. Yeah. And that's a good segue into like the two ways, like every business should have social media at this point. It's necessary.
Yeah.
People are if you're going to do business with anybody, the first thing you're going to do is Google them. That's just the way the world works now. So you need to exist on the internet in some capacity. So you can either take the passive route where you're just putting things up there and then people can view your feeds as a portfolio of things that you've done, in which case you're not really trying to get likes or follows or whatever. You're just posting things as a standalone portfolio.
Yeah.
Or you can get into the more targeted content where you're purposefully creating content to grow your audience.
Yeah.
Which both ways
Yeah.
are fine. Depends on what kind of manpower you have and how much time and effort you're willing to put into it. Because it is time consuming. It's incredibly time consuming to be active on the internet all the time. It's super time consuming.
Yeah. And that's such a great point, that there are like those two different routes that you can go, because any legitimate business needs to have an internet presence.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that you have to be getting all of your leads through that social media, because that can be pretty difficult. Like if you're not getting that huge organic reach, it can be hard to get all of your leads through social media. Like you still might be getting it word of mouth.
Yeah.
Which a lot of people say, but word of mouth isn't what it was, 20 years ago. It's not like, here's this guy's cell phone number or lady's cell phone number. Call this person. It's like, okay, here is this person's business name. Then that person's going to Google them or look them up on Instagram, look them up on Facebook, and try to get more information about them. So the whole industry and even the most basic thing like word of mouth marketing is not the same as it used to be. So you need to have something that when people hear it from a friend or from a relative, that they can go and look and see that you're there, see that you're legitimate, and see, hopefully, a bunch of really nice pictures or videos or introducing yourself to them, so that once they finally make that first contact, they feel like they kind of know who you are, they know a little bit about you, they've seen your work. So that's one way to go about it.
And kind of to go off that point, if you don't have a social media if you're like, let's say you're in our industry and you're trying to get clients that way, if you don't have a social media presence, you look like
you're gonna steal
you're,
people's money. And you're gonna be
at
gone.
this point in like the way of the world, you
Yeah.
look like sketchy if you don't have some
Yep.
sort of something to show people. Like you kind of look like a sketch ball.
Yeah.
You don't want that.
And no offense, you probably are. You might be a sketch
You
ball.
might be a sketch ball. We don't know. There's no.
Yeah.
I can't see any pictures. I don't know.
Exactly. You could just be gone, and there's no way to trace you or anything like that. And that's such an important thing. So just like if you are not worried about getting leads through your social media or becoming an influencer or becoming a content creator, that is 100% fine. And that's a lot of work. So that's not the route for everybody to go, but you need to have something there, because eventually, no matter where people find you, they're going to eventually go to social media to find out more about you. So just look at it like this is kind of your new website.
Yeah.
You need to treat it like a portfolio where you look professional, and you can use that to funnel them to your website, and then they can fill out a contact form from there, but you need to be on there.
Yes.
Like, bar none, you need to have a social media presence, at the very least, just as a portfolio so that people can find you.
Exactly. Yeah. And then there's the other route.
Yes.
Where you put a ton of time and effort and you throw money at it and you really try to be targeted with your content.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's kind of like a couple different, I guess, kind of segments of this portion of it, where it is you're super active on social media, you're creating content, you're making videos, you're purposefully taking pictures of certain things to tell a story about who your brand is, who your company is, and telling that to a very specific demographic of potential client.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of work that needs to go into that portion of it. And there are like the small businesses like us who put a ton of time and effort into that, that has to be a super core part of our business, because there's only a total of 6 of us. 2 of us are spending a lot of time in the van working on creating content. So it's become a very core part of our business, and we'll get into like what exactly that means a little bit later. But then there's larger companies where they can have somebody dedicated on payroll, on salary, that is just, creating that content to tell the story about your brand to your potential client. And for like medium-sized businesses, I think it is such a critical position to have, because one person can create content to keep 10 crews busy. I mean, you're ciphering through our inquiry mailbox. How many jobs could we potentially do if we had, if employees or crews weren't a problem? How many like really super good leads are we getting, despite all of our efforts to kind of like, not get people to email us unless they're super, super targeted and interested?
Yeah.
We could at least do 100 jobs a year.
Yeah.
Like really.
Easily, yeah.
And still that's like targeting those really high-end clients.
Yes.
So I think that's something to really consider for a little bit of a larger business. That output of resources towards somebody that's just going to be dedicated to, making videos and posting on social media, and really taking the time to analyze what's working, who your target client is, and how to reach them is super important.
Yeah. And I think if you are a business that's thinking about kind of launching a social media presence or even just revamping kind of what you already have going on, just like it's really important to think of how you want to appear on the internet too, because it's a highlight reel. You have complete control of what you put on the internet. So really think of it kind of like, I'm not saying like map out every single piece of content that you're going to create, but kind of think about like as a whole, currently, how are we appearing on the internet? How are people, if someone's brand new and they have brand new eyes and they're going to find us, how are they going to view us? Like kind of come up with a plan that's really targeted to those clients that you want to get. If you like, we go to like our audience is kind of at this point like higher end clients
Mm-hmm.
who trust us with design and all that kind of stuff. And like today, we made a design choice on the fly, and the client was like, "Whatever, I trust you."
Yeah.
So if that's your audience, think of like what they want to see
Yep.
from your social media, and it's kind of a great opportunity to just come across how you want to
Yeah.
come across.
And you're curating that story about your brand. You have something like a website where you kind of have this very finite period of time to tell exactly the story you want to tell to your client. Whereas social media is kind of the opposite. It's you're telling a tiny piece of that story every day, every
Yeah.
week, whatever, over a very long period of time. And one of the
That's
best
so
things
true.
that I've found is we want to find people like before the sales funnel even exists. Like
Mhm.
we don't want to, put a lot of money into something like Google Ads where people are looking for, I want to hire a deck builder. I want to get a deck built right now.
Mhm.
Because then you have this very short period of time to like differentiate yourself from these other companies where if you can just get these people to like follow you, you get people that, they might think eventually I want a cool backyard or whatever. And if you get them to follow you for 1, 2, 3 years and they keep seeing that story being told, by the time they're ready to buy, they're not shopping around. They're like,
Right.
this is the company I want. Like,
Yeah.
I don't care what it costs. This is the company I want. I trust them. I've seen everything that they've built. So I think it's just a totally different way of getting a client. You're not getting them at the point of sale, like where they're ready to buy. I think that's just too competitive for high volume businesses.
Mhm.
If you have the Google ads figured out and you have, your ad spend figured out, that could work for you. But I think to get the best clients, our strategy works so well
Yeah.
because most of our clients have been following us for at least a year, and then they're willing to wait 9 months, a year, 18 months before we build their project. So we know that these
Yeah.
clients like want us to build it,
Yeah.
and then we just have to back it up by building something really sweet.
Yeah. And you build trust that way. If
Yeah.
you're just paying for ads the whole time, you're only going to appear to people as a commercial. If you get this social media following, they trust you and they believe in you, the person,
Yeah.
not just some blurb they saw and they're like, "Okay, I guess I don't know. I've seen his blurb a bunch. I should trust
Yeah.
him." Like they
Yeah.
actually get to know people and they
Yep.
get to know your company and how you do things and
And
how you design.
exactly. Yeah, and there's so many different ways that you can come across on social media because at the end of the day, every business is different. So your story that you're telling should be based around your business. So you have
Mhm.
a unique story to tell your unique client. The clients that hire us aren't, perfect clients for everybody else. They're perfect clients
Right.
for us because they love our style
Mm-hmm.
and we tell a consistent story over a long period of time. That's why we get some hate on some of our posts like why don't you do an Italian villa style project, and it's like that's
Yeah. That's
it's like
why would
kind of
we? That's not
branding
right.
101. Like
Yeah.
we
It's not
stick to
our
what
style.
we do
Yeah.
and it attracts a certain type of client
Mhm.
and it's a unique style, it's a unique product, and those clients that are attracted to that, like some people might look at that and be like, I hate this work. It looks
Mhm.
horrible. It's too modern. I want, white lattice, and that's perfect. There's another company out that's going to be perfect for that client,
Yeah.
but we want to create a unique identity to attract a unique client where that client can't find that exact thing that they find in us, somewhere else. It's not just we're not trying to appeal to everybody. We're just trying to be ourselves, tell our unique story, and find those clients that want us to, build a project for them.
Yeah, definitely. And it definitely is, if you have this huge backlog of content, it's like a great way to just show them exactly what you're about
Yeah.
in like a natural way.
Yeah.
For
Because
sure.
there isn't this priority on telling your whole story right off the bat. You have to understand your own business and what your story is. What's your unique thing about your business that you can tell? And then just look at it like you're just telling a small piece of that story with each post.
Yeah.
So make sure it's consistent in that manner,
Yeah.
but you're not trying to, have a full sales funnel in each caption. Like this, go to our website, find
Yeah.
out how we can solve those problems for you. And, that's just
true.
not how it works.
Yeah. And that when we create any of our content, I think that's a great point. Like, we look at it like, is this going to come off too commercially? Because that's not what our intention is. Like, if we really think about the target or the content that you're creating, and then kind of, like we said earlier, think about the end user and how they're going to see it.
Yeah.
So you don't want to come across too,
Yeah.
oh, we're a
Yeah, you don't want to look like a flyer that's like hanging on somebody's door. Like,
yeah.
we build the nicest decks in
Yeah.
the world. And
Number one deck
call
builder
us,
in the
yeah.
USA. Call us
Yeah.
today.
Exactly. Like we want, and at the end of the day, like, we can't build for that many people. I mean, how many leads do we get a week? I don't know. I don't look at that inbox anymore at all.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
It's way too many.
It's
And that's after every effort on our part to, like, get our leads
books are closed.
super qualified before
Yes.
they email us. Like, it's really, really hard to find our phone number online purposefully, because we want people to go to our website first, read about us. They'll see on there that we're booked out for next year. We're not even talking to potential clients until at some undetermined point next year. But we still get so many emails. So
yes.
we don't need to appeal to every client. We're already booked up enough. We're
Yeah.
happy with the route that we're going with our business. And, we're trying to tell a unique story. And our story is that we are kind of exclusive. We only do a certain amount of projects. We have a very unique style. And if that, kind of vibes with you, we're going to be a great fit. If you're willing to give up some creative freedom to me, we're definitely going to be a great fit. And,
Yeah.
that's part of that story. They've seen everything that we've built over the last couple of years because we post it all on social media. You get that trust.
Yeah.
Like, I can't remember a project that I didn't like that they built, because they're all very, they have that same look to it. You get that trust that people are willing to spend more money, because at the end of the day, that peace of mind that whether you're spending $50,000 or $80,000, it's still a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of clients would rather spend $80 knowing that they're going to get something that they really love, rather than take a gamble on somebody at 50. It's like, oh, maybe it'll turn out really great and it'll blow me away and I'll save 30 grand. Most clients are willing to spend that extra money for that peace of mind to know I've seen everything that they've done. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I have no doubt that it's going to turn out awesome. And that's the client that we're trying to attract.
Yeah. And another little tidbit I like to put in there is, in order to build trust, like, people are going to look at your portfolio and they're going to love that thing that you created, whether it's a deck or you're a siding company or whatever you do. But put your face in there. I think that's like my number one social media tip to anybody. People, it's like psychological, like,
warfare.
Targeting. People like to see other people's faces. So you can look at a company and you're like, oh wow, they do great work, but they have no, you could just walk down the street and they'd have no idea who you are. So put your face in your social media. Let people get to know you as a person.
Yeah.
And it will go over so well. People love to see other people's faces. I'm not saying, like, put a selfie in every single one of your pictures, like, hey, this is me and this is my siding, but mostly my face. But, like, talk, like, if you're on Instagram, talk on the stories.
Yep.
Tell people what you're doing. Tell people how passionate you are about what you're doing. Talk about it. Let people see what you've created and how passionate you are about this thing that you've created. It's like, it goes so far for people to see people's faces. I'm almost kind of at a point, if I see an Instagram feed and it's just projects, I'm like, boring. I don't like it.
Yeah.
It could be cool. What you're building is cool, but, like, I don't know you. So that's like my number one tip. I just show your face.
That is a really good point, and it's something that, like, you've stressed that from the beginning with me. Like, you have to, like, I just think we've been doing this social media thing for a long time. Like, everybody knows me, everybody knows my face, but we're getting new followers all the time that might not know me. So, like, you need to be cognizant of that. Like, not everybody knows who you are. You need to continually be retelling those important parts of the story.
Yes.
One of them is, who is the face of this brand?
Mm-hmm.
And as it's currently constructed, that's kind of me.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit everybody, but, you know.
It's mostly you, but yeah.
So it's important to consistently be out there and, you know, show your face. And in this day and age, with just how leery of kind of like everything people are, if you put your face out there, it just gives you a little bit more legitimacy. Like,
yes.
Okay, this is a real person. This is a real company.
Yes.
They're not just going to, like, you know, it's not USA Dex and the next day they're gone and there's a new company called America Dex and nobody knows who owns
yes.
it, and, you know.
Going back to that sketchball thing, you don't want to appear as a sketchball. If you let people see your face and you are your own brand and you're selling what you're doing, that goes really, really far.
I think if nothing else, that's like a really good thing to think. Do I look like a sketchball on social media?
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of sketchballs in the trades, in construction, in general contracting. It's just kind of, I mean, there's sketchballs everywhere.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
We get a bad rap for it.
Yes, I would say.
So
they're definitely
go above
bad
and
raps.
beyond to not look like a sketchball and look like a legitimate company that if you were the end client, that you would hire yourself and trust them fully and give over, you know, a whole bunch of money for a big project.
Yeah. It goes a long way. You will not regret it, I swear. And it really, really does.
I think it's also a good point that we do a lot of stuff on social media. It's probably 50 to 75% of my job is just like editing videos and shooting videos. And it's still something that I didn't really think about too much until you're like, all right, we haven't done a video or a picture with your face in a while. Mm-hmm. Let's do that, because you're constantly getting new followers or people that just aren't super engaged, that don't know a lot about you. So you need to make sure that that's pretty consistent, that you're telling that important part of your brand story on a consistent basis. And one of the most important things there is, you know, who is the face of that brand?
Who is this person? Yeah. And if people aren't going to see every single one of your posts, like, you're going to have, like, let's say you've already got like a small following, or, you know, you're trying to grow your following. Your followers aren't even going to see everything that you post. And if your aim is to get new people, then they're not going to know who you are. So you kind of have to look at each piece of content, or kind of your groupings of content. Like, will new people know who I am? Or will my following people be like, what even is this? Who is this? Like, I don't, you know, you have to kind of think of it. I try to keep that in perspective because we have such a we do YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, we're everywhere. Yeah. And each social media platform has their own following. So these are, you know, we have 500,000 eyes on us that are all seeing different pieces of a puzzle. And to us, we're like, we see everything. So we're like, oh, of course this makes total sense. But like, to somebody who's only seeing one piece of this puzzle, they're going to be like, well, what is it? So you have to make sure that you're staying consistent and you're showing people who you are, what you do, and creating content that kind of gives a whole picture to people.
That's another good point that I hadn't really thought about. Just like, we're on a bunch of different platforms, and it's like, we see all the content that we're putting everywhere. Mm-hmm. And like, you know, your instinct is to just think, everybody is seeing everything that we put out there, because why wouldn't they? It's so cool. They should definitely just
they should see everything.
Sure.
They should follow us on everything and watch everything.
But that's obviously not the case. And that's just like an important, you know, kind of tidbit to like have in your mind as you're going through your content strategy. Like, okay, we need to make sure that we're touching on this part of the story, even though it's, you know, maybe a boring part or a part that you don't like to do, like put your face out there. It's an important part of it, and you need to make sure that, you know, consistently you're kind of peppering that into your content strategy and showing your face.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And with that, with showing your face, you do have to like get a little bit of a tough skin, because the internet can be a difficult place to exist. But
it is.
It's par for the course at this point. You just gotta have a tough skin and know that.
My advice for that is, because I do hear people, I mean, I don't know if we're like an anomaly that we get like so many haters on on stuff, but I think most of the time it's really funny.
I
Like,
think it's hilarious. I do not like
Yeah.
and at the end of the day, it's driving.
It's driving engagement,
Yes.
which is great if you're a
So I
content
love a
creator.
hater. Yeah.
It's awesome. And like, I don't know, for whatever reason, I'm just like, it doesn't bother me at all.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not that like tough. Like, I don't have that thick a skin, but like, it's an internet hater, and it's just, it's just funny. And
Yeah.
most of the time, the stuff they say is hilarious. And we've turned like our YouTube haters into a somewhat frequent segment on Instagram where it's like, these haters comment something ridiculous.
Yeah.
I'll respond with something like that's super positive and like pretend like I don't know that they're making fun of me. And it's great content. It's hilarious, but you do have to keep that in mind. Like, if you're very sensitive, people are just going to say like such mean things and like horrible things.
Yeah. Yeah, and it depends like on which app too. Like TikTok, people are absolutely brutal. Like we posted something the other day and it was mostly getting like overwhelmingly positive comments, and we were like, "What is happening?" But Instagram is more I think more people have Instagram, so it's more connected to individuals' lives. So usually people are pretty nice on Instagram because you can go back and look at their Instagram and see who they are. But TikTok's just, man,
TikTok's
a wild place. It's so fun though. We do get the best hater comments on TikTok.
It's
for
hilarious.
Sure. It really is
so funny.
And sometimes it's like, it's a good point. Like that was
like somebody
we did look dumb when we did that. That's pretty funny.
In one of our recent YouTube videos, our new employee Tom thought I couldn't do 50 push-ups in a row. I ended up only doing 44 and a half, but I did in our YouTube video. Guess how many push-ups I did? I sped it up really fast, so it would be really, really hard to count, and you could win a t-shirt. And somebody said, I put a tape measure down so my chest would have tape measure, which I thought was pretty legit.
Yeah.
But then they said, 0 push-ups, your chest didn't hit the ground, it hit the tape measure. And I was like, I kind of respect your attitude. Like, I kind of respect it. I ain't mad about it. That's pretty legit. So definitely need to have some thick skin.
Yeah.
If you want to be out on social media. So let's get into like what that kind of like second area is, where like if you want to be a content creator, if you want to really make that like a very integral part of your business, especially if you're a small business. Like if you're a small business like we are and you want to be that involved in content creation, if you just have a passion for it or you have a big ego and you want people to think you're cool, whatever your reasoning is, you need to, at the end of the day, make revenue from it if you're a small business.
Yeah.
Because no matter, we reached a point probably 2 years ago where it was a tipping point. Like we could have stayed at the point that we were at, had enough leads to keep us super busy, even good qualified leads, and stayed with that same content strategy. But then we decided, let's go into YouTube. Let's, now we're trying to do 2 Instagram videos a day, and I'm having an absolute blast with it. I have so much fun making the videos. It constantly pushes us to do new things, but if you're a small business like we are, you have to have revenue created from that content.
Yeah.
So
that part is important.
Should we get into some of the content opportunities for revenue?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I think people want to know that.
They do.
Instagram doesn't just pay you, unfortunately.
Well, they do now.
Well, for things like I'm just
With
saying, like it's not
bonuses.
like Instagram goes into your DMs and they're like, "You look cool, let's give you money." It's like.
So let's break down some of the different ways if you want to be a content creator. I like to call it a content creator because like that's like, such a huge part of it. You're just like constantly thinking about creating different types of videos, and for me, it stimulates that creative part of me, and I love it.
Mm-hmm.
But some people call it influencer.
Yeah.
People think that's a dirty word and a bad word. I like to say content creator because that's, at the end of the day, we're trying to create engaging videos, and we're kind of I like to look at it, we're just really at the beginning of our journey into content creation.
Yes.
We're really just starting to like really analyze it more and put more effort into it, and not just put up, you know, kind of more happenstance type of content. We're really trying to see what works, try to get deeper into the stuff that does.
Right.
So, a couple different ways that you can make money off of this. Let's go over.
Yes. Yeah. Let's get into it.
So, number one, YouTube. If you're on YouTube, you can make money off of Google Ads. Google AdWords will pay you. We've developed our content to a point where we're making good revenue off of it.
Yeah.
Where it's,
I feel like we could make a whole nother like podcast on YouTube.
yeah,
And like how
and
strategies about that, because
YouTube is a whole nother beast.
Yeah, for sure.
The type of content's so different. So
Yes.
we'll just touch on that a little bit in this one.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm just saying that it's like
YouTube,
a lot
I
that
know.
goes into it. A lot. YouTube
And
is.
we still have so much to learn about.
Yes.
it. Yeah. We should get like a guru so we can learn from them on the podcast.
Yeah.
But that is like the most kind of upfront one. There is a big opportunity to make money off of Google AdWords. We've had months where our best month, a lot of people are kind of, you know, keep this stuff close to the chest, but I'm going to put it out there.
Yeah. People are curious.
Our best month, $12,000 on Google AdWords.
Yeah.
Which is it's a lot of money. If we were making $12,000 every month, that would be really, 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 really good.
Yeah.
The problem is we're not making that every month.
And that's the thing about YouTube. It's really inconsistent.
Yep.
And it's all about there's a whole science to it, but
yeah,
it matters like how you keyword things, what genre you fit into, how niche you are with your videos. It's there's a whole science to it. And that goes into the structure of how you get paid for these kind of payments.
Yeah. And like an Instagram video, it might take maybe 20 minutes if I'm editing it on the computer and doing it in Final Cut. It might take me 20 minutes to edit like a 30-second Instagram video. A YouTube video, it could take me 6, 8, sometimes like 10 hours.
Yeah.
It's really, really, really a lot of work. It cuts down on our productivity on the job site. And like I said, if we were making $12,000 every month, that would be amazing. And it would 100% be worth it all the time. We're still at a point where it's worth it. You know, we're making good revenue off of it, but it's not $12,000 every month.
Yeah.
And it takes so much work.
Yes.
I really can't stress enough how much work it is to film the stuff. You have to be thinking about it all the time, making sure you're getting every part of the job, make sure you are staying on a consistent schedule with uploading, editing it. Yeah. It's so much work. So
it's a full-time job in itself.
100%.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we almost have 2 people working on content at least half the day.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Where are we at time-wise here?
I think we're about
halfway?
No, we got about 20 more minutes left.
Okay.
In our happy hour.
Because we do have some calls to get to, so
yeah. No, I think that was a good train you were going on though. Like how to make money.
Yeah.
YouTube is tough. When it comes to things like Instagram or Facebook.
Yep.
I hate to say it, but I think Facebook's kind of going by the wayside, but still important.
I disagree.
It's very important. It is very
disagree.
important. You think so?
I do. And
okay.
We haven't really talked about this much.
Yeah.
This is one of the things that, you know, we've been focusing a lot on YouTube, on Instagram, on TikTok recently. Mm-hmm. You can't focus on everything like super focused all the time. So we're trying to. It's been 4 months that we've been, you know, working together and really trying to like accelerate our content growth. But I really do feel like Facebook is here to stay. Facebook videos, Facebook Watch.
Yeah. I
kind of look at it like try to kind of see where they're putting a lot of focus.
Yeah. I do agree with that, and I think that like with their whole new Meta thing, I think that they're working towards a revamp, and I hope that it goes well. It just doesn't seem like the younger generations are getting into that
Yeah, but those boomers, they watch a lot of Facebook.
Oh yeah, so that is
love
true. So if you're, like I said before, like Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, they all have very different audiences. So if
Yes.
you're trying to hit that boomer audience, you got to be all over Facebook.
Yep.
That is for sure true.
That's where the boomers are. So yeah, if you have some business where you're, some sort of snake oil salesman, because boomers they don't know what's going on the internet. It's like they have no clue what's going on. They love it. They believe everything that they see on the internet. So be a trustworthy person. Don't take advantage of the boomers out there. We all have parents, and our parents are boomers. But one thing that I've kind of realized recently, Instagram just rolled out, these bonuses for Reels. Like, they'll do a 30-day period where you can apply for these bonuses, and if you get a certain amount of views, the top amount of money is $35,000, but you have to get 58 million views in that period, which is
per
a lot.
month, right?
Per month,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's a lot. We haven't gotten
yeah.
anywhere near that yet, but I think it's almost a signal because previously, like, YouTube was really the only one where, if you didn't have like sponsorships, like that was the spot where you can actually make money. Like that website will pay you money because they're showing ads. And just recently, you're seeing a lot more, Instagram, Facebook, even TikTok, starting to incentivize creators because at the end of the day, all of these platforms rely on the creators. And the more they can incentivize them by essentially paying them and giving them an avenue to make a living off of, they're going to have better content. They're going to have more people returning to their platform to watch stuff.
Yeah.
And with just these recent rollouts, you see that I think it's going that way, that these social media companies, they're kind of all battling each other in a sense, and they're going to have to incentivize creators to create really good content on their platform. So
yeah. And that's kind of a good tip. Like, keep an eye on what they are pushing, because if you get in early, they're gonna push your stuff. Like, YouTube is really. Sean just poured himself a new drink.
Chocolate martini, chocolate peanut butter.
YouTube is really pushing their YouTube Shorts right now, and that's kind of their equivalent to Instagram Stories or TikTok. So we've kind of been trying, like, oh hey, what can we throw over there to see what kind of works and what doesn't over there.
Which I hate, by the way.
You hate YouTube Shorts?
I hate YouTube Shorts because YouTube was like the one platform where it's like, because you can kind of like fake it without being like really putting a lot of effort into content creation on Instagram. At least you could before. That's kind of changing a bit, but like to make long format content on YouTube is just. It's so different from Facebook, from Instagram, from TikTok. And that's the one thing I love about it. Like, there's no other place on the internet where our average watch time is like about overall, it's about 4 minutes. On our vlog type content, it's like almost 6 minutes. Like, there's nowhere else on the internet where you can hold someone's attention for 6 minutes.
For sure.
So that's why I love YouTube so much, because it's such a valuable platform, because everywhere else, the average view, there's a lot of differing opinions on this, but the consensus is the average video view on Instagram is about 8 seconds.
Yeah.
Whereas our average view on YouTube is almost, for our vlog type of stuff, is almost 6 minutes.
Yeah.
Which is insane. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy to think about. And if you look at the numbers of like how long people have watched the YouTube videos as a whole, it's like staggering. Those YouTube numbers are staggering.
We didn't even talk. Did you see the 2021
Yeah.
analytics?
Amazing.
People watched our videos on YouTube for about 68.5 million. Was it minutes or hours? I forget, but it ended up.
That's a huge difference.
A humongous difference. But
60.
It was minutes. It was definitely, it had to be minutes.
I think it was minutes. But
whatever
still.
it was, it ended up being, it was about 129 years.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Worth of viewing our stuff
yeah.
about backyards, which is just
So think about that. If you're trying to sell
insane.
something or yourself or whatever your thing is,
Yep.
having eyes on you for that long is really, that goes so far.
It really does. And
But as we're talking, sorry, go ahead. You can finish your
one
thought.
more thing. So the other way that you can create revenue off of social media, if you want to go that content creator route, and you really have to, like, you can't fake it and be like, oh, I have 1,000 followers and, you know, I think it's worth this to this company and they should give me free stuff or whatever. It's not like that anymore. There's so much competition. Like, you have to dedicate your business around content creation to appeal to these companies. But the one thing that I'll say is, you know, most of the clients that we work for, it's a pretty high-end client. You know, they might live in $1 million house or whatever. A lot of in the construction industry, a lot of these big companies, they're not $1 million companies. They're multi-billion-dollar companies. So with multi-million-dollar marketing budgets.
Yeah.
So if you can really dedicate yourself to creating unique content, and at the end of the day, it's all about how many eyes are on it and how much attention you're garnering for your content. That's appealing to these larger, you know, manufacturers. So that's the other route that you can go, and it's all about how much you put into it at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And I guess how good you are at it, because, you know.
Yeah. I think social media to a lot of people seems like this abstract content because you are putting, like, for me, I spend at least half of my time on social media, and there is no way to calculate, like, I am putting X, Y, and Z into this, and I am getting X, Y, and Z in revenue in return. It's not like a 1-for-1 pay.
Yeah.
So I think that a lot of people look at it like, why would I put that much time and effort into social media when I'm not, like, seeing a direct return from it? You kind of have to look at it like that. Like, think of all of the opportunities that would come from it in other realms, not just like, okay, why? I mean, I'm putting all this content on Instagram and Instagram's not paying me. So, like, think about it in a more abstract content of how you can either get leads or get sponsorships or get revenue from other areas.
Yeah. And that's such a good point, because I feel like a lot of, like, in a lot of senses, like, I'm not, like, an astute business person. Like, I don't, like, live and die by the numbers like a lot of people do, which I'm not saying is not important for certain types of businesses. And I have a lot of friends that run these super successful businesses. They make their money in different ways. I'm like a live and die by the vision type of person.
Yeah.
And, like, diving into social media, like, for a while, it's not going to pay off.
No.
So you have to have that vision, and you're going to live and die by that. But I think if you believe in it enough and you see the opportunities, like, just like in our first episode, think outside the box.
Yeah.
There's very, 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 very big companies that make a lot of money, that spend a lot of money on advertising, that aren't spending that on magazines anymore, that aren't spending it on, you know, whatever they used to spend it on.
Billboards, commercials. Nobody's doing that anymore. They're putting it
into social media, into content. Stuff. And there's a lot of, even not the huge businesses, there's a lot of smaller businesses that their biggest problem with marketing is having content to share, to market around.
Yes.
So there's a lot of opportunities out there. It's not right for everybody. I wouldn't recommend going that route unless you just love making videos, because it's going to be a long road. You're not going to see a payoff day one. But if you do love creating content and you love building unique stuff, there are opportunities out there.
Yes.
I
did want to.
Oh no, you go. You go.
Well, we did get a really good question from our buddies over at Cascade Fence and Deck.
Yeah.
They asked, where do we think that social media is going to be in 5 years, and if it's going to be essential to recruiting and everything like that?
Yeah, I think as far as recruiting, I think it's essential right now. Like,
well, that is true. But do we think that it's going to only grow from here? I do. I think that it's just going to become more but intrinsic.
I think there's a couple different ways to look at it, but at the end of the day, if you're a larger company that has, not even that has high turnover, but, has a need for a lot of labor or a lot of employees, you have to be doing everything that you can to always be recruiting, to always be trying to find the best talent. Even if you're a small company, I mean, we're not trying to just hire like, some random person with a pulse. We want somebody that's going to help us grow in our unique way.
Yeah.
And that all happens from getting yourself out there and making a case that this is a career that you'll want to, come to, have fun, and also there's opportunities to grow, and that there's, it's not just a dead-end job. There's a vision for how you can grow within this company. So I think it's super important now. And that line of thinking has always been the case. It's always been the same thing. Social media is just another avenue for recruiting, and it's just another way to tell that story of, hey, we're a great company. We're going places. It's fun to work here. We have great opportunities. We pay well, benefits, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And that's how, I mean, we only have 6 people, but it's already at the point where we are what our employees are.
Yeah.
Like, once it gets beyond like 2 or 3 people, you're counting on your employees to grow your business. And that's, especially when you get to 10, 15, 20, 100 employees, you need to be attracting the best people that are out there. And that is going to happen from putting yourself out there and making it look like an opportunity that people want to be a part of.
Yeah. And I will say, as of like part of like, we recently were going through the recruiting process when we hired Tom, and going through we were going through applications, and it was fun. We got to choose, and because people wanted to be a part of like this thing that we've created, and I have been part of like hiring processes at other companies, and it's not always like that. Yeah. If you have to convince people why you should like, please work here. Like, we swear it's great. Like, that's an uphill battle to climb, but it's a good position to be in when you can be like, look, we have fun here. We do, you can see what a day in the life of Premier Outdoor Living is, because it's all over the internet. Like, it is a good place to be in. And I think maybe social media, like, each app is going to change and some new version of whatever is going to come out, and we all have to adapt to that. But I do think that social media is here to stay for sure. It's not going anywhere. It's going to be for sure the future.
100%.
Of everything, of advertising, of recruiting, of budgeting, and whatever.
I think not necessarily 100%, relevant to this topic, social media and how you present yourself. I guess it kind of is, but I think a lot of people, especially in the trades and just younger people in general, that are looking for a career that, that they're going to stick with, they're not necessarily looking for the, it's not all about the pay and the salary. It's obviously partially about that. You need to be making sure that, that you have a business that can compensate people what they're worth, but it's about quality of life, and it's about what is that day-to-day like?
That's really true. Because if you are just being hired by some mega corporation, they can tell you like, oh yeah, we have a family atmosphere and it's so nice. Yeah. But they have no way to show it. But if you show all of this content that you've created, and you're like, no, like, listen, we this is how we do things. We live and die by our morals and our whatevers. You can see it in our videos.
We're all, it's a small company, so we're all working together, and and that's at the end. I'm out there. I'm at least half the time in the van, but I'm out there. Like, I want to have an environment that's fun, that is rewarding, that isn't, just beating me down at the end of the day. That's not what it's about. So I think that is something, again, it's just like everything else. It's a story that you need to tell through your social media. Mm-hmm. You can tell it a bunch of different ways, and everybody has a unique story, but you need to identify what it is about your company. Ask yourself, why would anybody want to work here? That's important. People I think there's an old school mentality of like, I can't find anybody to want to work for me. And it's like, all right, well, what's the job position? Oh, well, it's manual labor, 15 hours a day. All right, well, what do you pay? $12 an hour. You gotta work for anything higher than that. You gotta show me what you're worth. And it's like, okay, you're having a hard time finding people. I wonder why. I wonder why.
Yes.
So it's very similar to finding the right clients, finding the right employees, and for some companies, your social media might want to be more dedicated towards just recruiting. And I think that's kind of where Cascade is. A lot of times they are really good at portraying that like fun atmosphere.
Oh, they're so
the
good.
camaraderie.
Yeah. It seems so great to work there. If you're in the Washington area.
Yeah, I'd probably work for them. If it wasn't for all the rain all the time. It sounds horrible. But anyway, love the question. Love
Thanks,
those
Cascade.
guys up there.
Yeah. All right. Should we go to our next question?
We should, which
Okay.
is the first call into our hotline.
Yeah. Well, not the first, but the
first
most
one,
legitimate question.
Yeah. We pranked a lot of people to call into our hotline because we thought it was hilarious, and it was.
Yeah, it was pretty
All
fun.
right, so let's
Okay.
first call.
This is from Levi.
Hey, Sean, it's Levi with TC Decks out of Utah. Hey, I'm loving the podcast. I appreciate the content you're putting out. I'm just wondering, with all the effort that you're putting into, social media and YouTube and stuff, is it worth it for you as far as gaining new clients? Or I guess my main question is what percentage of your builds comes from the social media and things that you put out as compared to other outlets like Google searches and things like that. So anyways, again, I'm a big fan of your work. I appreciate what you guys are doing. Thank you.
Right. Appreciate that, Levi. Thank you for calling in, really being like the first caller into the hotline.
Yeah.
Catherine, can we get that number up so I can say it
Yes.
out loud so we can get some calls for the next.
Can you see it, or do you want me to read it?
I can't know.
The number is
Yeah, there you go.
347-941-3923. Did you have a pencil? Do you need to write that down again? I'll say it again. It's 347-941-3923.
So yeah, call us, leave us a message, and we'll rap about it on the air. But
Yeah.
Levi, we do really appreciate your call, and we kind of went into this a little bit.
Yeah.
But the amount of effort and emphasis that we're putting on social media and content creation, it's not just about getting the right client. It's kind of what I would say an auxiliary benefit of how much content we're creating. The more you're out there, the more leads you'll get, the more picky you can be about the leads that you want to pursue.
Yeah.
So that is a benefit of it, but
Yeah, think about it more as like putting your name out into the zeitgeist, and just you'll get returns from that.
what does that mean exactly?
The zeitgeist?
Yeah, I've heard that term.
It's just
I don't
like
know what it
collective knowledge.
means. Oh, it's just like into the ether.
Yeah. Like
Oh,
do you,
okay.
like what's Nike's logo? Or what's Nike's
Swoosh.
slogan?
Just do it.
You just know that. You don't have to see it.
Oh, it's part of
It's just like part of your brain,
Oh,
and you
okay.
just kind of know it. That's the zeitgeist. It's just
Okay.
when people think of like deck building, they think of Premier Outdoor. You just gotta
That's the goal.
That's the goal,
100%,
yeah.
100% the goal.
that's manifesting.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like you just put it out into the ether, and then
Yep.
that's how I think of social media. You just put effort into it, and I mean, it is very easy to get bogged down in the numbers and analytics and that kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
as a whole, you create the best content that you create. You
Yeah.
put it out into the zeitgeist, and
I feel like well, hold on. Let's finish answering Levi's
Okay, sorry.
questions.
I'm getting
I got
distracted.
distracted. Which is totally par for the course for me. But there's a certain, I think they call it the Law of Diminishing Returns. I don't know where I pulled that out of, but that's definitely a thing.
did you go to business school?
I think I might have partially majored in that for like half a semester. But there is a point where, you can create a bunch of content and you'll be seeing progressively larger returns from that. But then it reaches a point where, you can only generate so many leads, where the amount of content you're creating is kind of cumbersome to your real goal, which is for some people just building the projects. But we've kind of transitioned into a point, I'd say we've transitioned, but we're also still in a process of transitioning where we want to create more content. So we have kind of taken a step back to go to the next level of creating content, where it's going to be a bigger part of our revenue. So we are, you know,
Mhm.
we do have some sponsorships. We do have ad revenue coming in from YouTube, now a little bit from Instagram. So that's really what that's part of what we're trying to pursue. And that's really just because I love making the content. I
Yeah.
love building really cool stuff, and if we can make money off of some of the content creation, it gives me more artistic freedom to like spend an extra day or two or week or two sometimes on a project if I come up with a really cool idea. So there
Yeah.
is a point where the content creation, if you're just looking to build your business in the traditional sense of charging a client, making money off of that, doing the project, there is a point where those returns will be kind of diminishing and you'll be spending too much time on content creation and it won't be worth it. So it really kind of goes back to those two different ways that you can pursue it. If you want to really dive into content creation, you can go that route, but you're going to need to, at a certain point, find additional avenues of revenue.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the way of the future is just figuring out a way for you to exist on the internet in no matter what a job you're in, existing on the internet in some kind of way is going to be profitable, whether it's getting leads or if you are a master plumber and you start doing classes on YouTube or whatever your trade is and you start doing classes. I think that existing on the internet is just, in the end, if you put enough focus and time and effort into it, it's going to be profitable on the internet.
I agree. The only thing I'll say is I think there's a lot of people, sometimes people will come to me and like, we've had what I would say a mild amount of success on social media. I mean, we're not the Kardashians. We're not famous. A lot of people that build decks and patios know who we are, but that's not like something to really hang your hat on. It's not that cool, but
it's very cool.
It's so cool.
It's really cool.
But there are people that come to me that like kind of like want that like clout of like, hey, I want to be like recognized for my work. We do really cool work, and it's like, it's like, all right, what
that's
you're
not
looking
the way to
for,
look at it.
Yeah.
It's not,
Because if anything, you're just gonna get people that say you suck and you're the worst.
Yeah.
So like, the people that I would really encourage to go into that, like go down that path of content creation and like really take it as far as you can go, you have to do it because like you love that creative part of it. If you're going after it, like I just want people to like think I'm cool and I want people to see how awesome our work is. That is a futile task because you will people are going to be brutal to you.
Yeah, no, that
and
is
you're not going to be
super true.
fulfilled. So like the reason we decided to go down it was because it was so fun to me to make videos, and it's another like, you know, it's a creative aspect of it, but it's also a cool challenge to like see what videos work really well.
Yeah. And we just have so much fun making the videos. And even now we have like, even Anthony at first, when I first started working here, Anthony was like, ugh, this social media stuff. I just want to build a deck. But now Anthony is like the king of content and he loves thinking of how to create videos. And it's like, it's turned into this fun thing for all of us to be like,
he's like,
this is going to make a great TikTok or this is going to make a great Instagram video. Like, it's fun.
Viral content. Our two most popular pieces of content on TikTok and Instagram, between those two videos on those two platforms, we got to be close to 30 million views or something like that. Just on those two, I think both videos are like 10 seconds long.
Yeah.
And Ant came to us, he's like, I have this cool idea for a video. We'll do this. And I'm like, especially the last time, I was like, I don't know how much I love this idea, but I want to encourage this type of behavior and this thought process. Boom, as soon as we post it, within 2 days, it was only 2 days ago, it's got 3.1 million views on TikTok.
Yeah.
So, but that's just like, it's part of, it's almost like a treasure hunt. Like, you don't know what it's going to do really well. It's fun. So, if you're just looking at it just to make money, you're probably not going to be successful because you're going to have to put so much work into it that you're going to reach a point where it's like, I can't justify this much work because the money hasn't started coming in yet.
Yeah.
And if you just want to build your business, you're going to reach a point where you're doing too much content and you're not having a direct impact on the amount of clients that you're getting and the amount of jobs that you can build. So there is, it's such a vast world of opportunity. You have to pick where you want to go, what type of business you want to run. And I guess that's, is that where we'll leave it for this week?
I know. I feel like I could talk about this forever.
I know.
Maybe we revisit this into like specific apps. Maybe people want to hear that. Let us know if you want us to go into like more specific app like
type of whatever
facts or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we're at our happy hour, so
yeah. So next week, Christmas is in 2 days. Next week, we are going to do for the new year, which I know you're really excited about.
I'm really excited about it.
Yeah. We're going to do an entire episode on setting goals and doing it in a way that's, I guess, manageable.
Yeah.
I like to like really, really like teeter that edge between like a realistic goal and one that's just like so huge that it's like almost impossible.
Yeah. I love New Year's. I think it's such a fun experience to like, it just feels like you're shedding an old version of yourself and you get to like think of your new year ahead and plan different things and set different goals. I think it's going to be great. I love it.
I'm very excited for it.
Yeah.
So make sure you call that hotline, which the number is
347-941-3923.
And we will, really, it'll kind of be a free for all. Whatever, if it's about goals, if it's about whatever, we can tie it together into goals and
setting goals for the new year
and intentions or whatever.
Maybe people should just let us know what their goals are, that we can steal them or modify them for ourselves.
So until next week, this has been the Hardworking Happy Hour.
See you next week.